Okay, hello, I am back and we are going into the Fabled Gear. Okay, real quick about Fabled Gear. You are going to get 10 pieces of Fabled Gear. Fabled Gear is, I wrote a story to all this stuff. There's the first 4 chapters of the story I wrote is on YouTube and it's in the form of storyboards. And so I crafted a whole story with characters and, of course, the land of Avalon that you'll learn about and kind of why this game is called Genesis of Evil. Because at the start of the story, Avalon's perfect. It's very tranquil, very serene. It's peaceful, and nothing happened. So some events led up to why all these monsters are here and what's going on. So if you look at the storyboards, it's up to chapter 4, but those are all the sketches and pieces of art I put in there were just prototype stuff that I did years ago because I wanted to try to get across my vision. And an artist, when we get the game done, is going to take that and redo everything and make it all look very unified, and then release chapters 5 through 8 that will, explain what happened in Avalon. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out. So Fabled Gear are these characters you're going to read about that I created, and this is weapons that belong to them in the game. And so I'm going to show you a few of these. I'm going to keep some of them secret. You probably saw it on the fly-through. But as I said, there's a little girl named Mallory, 8 years old, in the story, and it's Emperor Sylvian's and Ashara's daughter. And so Mallory, this is one of the Fabled Gear, and it's colored just like you saw. There's white, green, blue, purple, and orange. So this is Mallory's golden bow, and you can see, let me get a piece of white gear so you can see the difference. I swear to God, it's like a sea of loot, looking for what you want. Okay, take a look. Here, this is a normal piece of white gear, common, okay? It does have a socket, which is really good. 1 damage, and only gives you 1, +1 to ranged warfare, 300 gold. But if you look here at Mallory's golden bow, that's +3 to ranged warfare, +3 to spiritual warfare, but it's 600 gold. And there's no socket where this does. But still, this is, if you can get this, if this comes up in the blacksmith shop at the start of the game, this is a pro Crusader tip number 132. Get a piece of Fabled Gear to wield, because this is really good stuff. And the flavor text, given to Mallory on her 13th birthday. You definitely want to get like this white gear at the start of the game. It will really help out, like your archer hero or the ranger hero, Kane. So that's that. And then while we're on the white gear, there is Mallory had a best friend named Luke, and Luke was raised by Father Jova in the story. And let me put this back here. I really hope I'm not talking too much about Luke for you guys, but I told you I have the fictitious disease of dungeon crawlitis, so excuse my condition. Luke's training sword. Again, just like what I showed you, a normal white item would only have 1 damage and 1 enchantment. Just like Mallory's golden bow, 600 gold, +2 damage, +3 to physical warfare rolls, and +3 to chaos warfare rolls. And the flavor text, a gift to Luke from the Avalon Valiant Army. So there's this army in Avalon called Avalon Valiant Army. So they gave this to Luke as a gift. And then I'm going to skim over a few others. So from there, we're going to be going over to green, the next step up for Fabled Gear. And there's one of the characters I created is Charcy Sibrai, and she is part of the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest. And they have this incredible tower right there. They're known as, that's the Tower of the Maidens, and she is part of the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest. As you see, there's Witherbrook West, Witherbrook Forest East, and directly north is Witherbrook. So there is the Tower of the Maidens. So Charcy is a captain in the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest, and right here, this was given to Charcy by her father before his death. And just real quickly, the lore with Charcy is when she was 12, the Black Hand Army, which you're going to meet in the game, led by the Guardian Lord Blackhand, murdered her family, and she was the only one to escape. And they lived around Hunter's Watch. Guys, I told you I get deep with this game. So there's Hunter's Watch. You can see that, right? Oh, it's Castle Blackwood. There's Hunter's Watch. So they lived around that area, and there was a raid around them, and that unfortunate thing happened. But he did give her this hatchet. This is a very high gold cost. 1,000 gold, but it does 3 damage, plus 4 to chaos, plus 4 to physical, and it has a special ability. And you do not have to channel this. This just works every time. And again, real simple. Anytime you deal damage from a successful warfare roll to a monster with the beast symbol, that little symbol, that's a beast, with the beast trait, deal 1 extra damage. So if you're equipped with this and you're fighting a monster that has the beast trait, and you do a successful hit, deal another damage. So there's more in that, but I'm in the Fabled Gear, but I'm going to keep going. Here is Ren. Ren Osis is a legendary hero in Avalon, and this is her warbow. And actually, there's a famous battle that was fought with Ren. And you can see that's Ren's Crossing, and that's where the battle took place, and it was named after her. So this is Ren's warbow, and same thing, carried by Ren. Hey guys, I'm actually back. What happened was I wasn't paying attention to the battery, and the battery died. So I'm trying to pick up where I left off. Even though this was spliced in, that's what happened. So we were over there talking about Ren's Crossing, right? And this is Ren's warbow, Fabled Gear. And down here, just like all the other flavor text, carried by Ren in countless battles across Avalon. And gold cost is 1,000, 3 damage, and you can add +4 to your ranged warfare rolls and +4 to physical. And the special ability is, anytime you deal damage from a successful warfare roll to a monster with a demonic trait, you can see that there, that'll be on the monster card so you can easily identify it, deal 1 extra damage. So this is a really good weapon, and it gives a lot of damage to a monster. So there's a blue, and then we're going to wrap up this here with a few more pieces of Fabled Gear. Okay, this weapon here, as you know, if you saw the Guardians, I created all these Guardians, and it's pretty much like the boss monsters in the game, but I gave them all unique names, to make it more like, like give them a personality. And I spoke about the Black Hand Army, and the Black Hand Army is this, they were human, but now they're demonic. They have no souls. And they're led by their leader, Lord Blackhand. And a few years ago, when I was creating that character, I wanted to give Lord Blackhand a really crazy weapon, like something that looks really evil and malevolent. And I created the Trinity of Anguish. And this is a piece of Fabled Gear, and your heroes can buy this. It's 1,200 gold. This is a purple, epic, tiered weapon. And flavor text, a weapon of great evil carried by Lord Blackhand. And if you notice, there's, of course, Sean redid this. Sean, I love what you did. It's kind of like a, not a morning star. Is that morning star, right? With the ball on the end, or is that a flail? I should know that. But as you see, there's skulls with spikes coming out of it. And Sean added this, what I thought was brilliant. I don't want to get too close. Notice at the top, it's like a fist holding the chains. So that was his touch. And I thought that was awesome, and kind of like a spiky thing at the end. So can you imagine that weapon in real life? It's quite deadly. So +3 damage. But this now, because we're moving up in epic gear, this will give you +4 to spiritual warfare, +4 to physical, and +4 to range. And this special is, if damage was dealt to a monster from a successful warfare roll, any adjacent monster to the target monster takes 1 damage. So when you're doing chamber battles, that really wouldn't apply. But if you're in the dungeon and maybe you're attacking a guardian with this weapon and there's minions around, you could hit all of them if you successfully land a hit. So there is Trinity of Anguish. and a very charming weapon. And lastly, we're at the legendary Fabled Gear. And in the story I wrote for Dungeon Crusade, there's Emperor Sylvian and his wife Ashara. Well, Emperor Sylvian had a battle sword, and that's what we're going to see, one of the legendary Fabled Gear. And there's one more. And I talked to, everyone seems to know who Leah is now. She was helping me assemble the cards, and we have to redo this one because I think some glue or some of the tacky stuff that she uses, it got right there. So please forgive that. Take a look at that. Emperor Sylvian's battle sword. Very high gold cost, 2,000 gold. Does 4 damage, but look at all the bonuses. Plus 5 to physical warfare rolls, plus 5 to spiritual warfare rolls, plus 5 to mythical, and plus 5 to chaos. And the flavor text, one of the most sought-after relics in all of Avalon, and rightfully so. This can lay down some ponage. I mean, you know, seriously, if you put, and you know, like something like, I mean, check that out. If you put this in one hero's hand and Charcy's hatchet in another, you're going to lay down some serious ponage. I mean, you're doing 7 damage possibly. But again, very hard to get, and sometimes by luck this will show up in the blacksmith shop. But again, high gold costs for that. So there you go, Emperor Sylvian's battle sword. And for the new playthrough, of course, we're going to reprint this card and that other one I showed you and make sure it's nice and clean for you. So there you go, Fabled Gear. The last thing we're going to talk about, I'm in a new angle. You guys have looked at that. How about up here? You want to look at that for a while while I talk? The last thing we're going to talk about, and then we're going to do the set change and bring the game out, and we're going to do some builds for you, is something I created way back when I started designing Dungeon Crusade and the story. And I'm going to introduce you to the black level. And this is called Underworld Artifacts. And, you know, there's an Underworld in Avalon. And you can interpret that to what the Underworld is. But it's a very evil place, very wicked. And these weapons I'm going to show you, there's 6 of them in the game. There's no gold cost. These are never for sale. You have to be lucky enough for a monster to drop one of these. Okay, that's the only way you're going to get one. And what these are is, let's get one here. And these are very vicious weapons. And there's a whole thing I did why I made these like this. This is Mace of the Blood Gods. Just looking at this thing, you know, like black and red, those colors are, you know, usually associated with something, you know, when you want to, you know, make an impact. Those colors just seem to really go together. This is Mace of the Blood Gods. And if you notice on the other ones, like there's some flavor text. This one simply says slay. Okay, I'm going to grab another one for you. I want to keep some of these a surprise. Right here, here's Axe of the Black Angel. And on the bottom of this, it says malice. These Underworld artifacts, there's 6 of them. You know, there's like a sword, a dagger, a bow. Here, I'll tell you what. Show Sean's work up here. Kez did this one. Kez did both of these. Kez, I love you. These are insane. This is Bow of Demonic Souls. Look at that bow. You know, and I wanted these to be very wicked weapons. And right here it says agony. And the thing about Underworld artifacts is these were used in a very evil way. Okay? You know, they're very bad. That's why they have just these words on the bottom. And your hero can wield these. However, these are just as deadly as a monster to your heroes. As you can see, it can do 6 damage. But if you notice here, there's a 13 on the skull. And what happens is, you as a player, whether you're playing solo or with a group, have to really make a decision if you really want to wield something like this. Because if it goes wrong, your hero's soul is consumed. Because you have to think about it. You have to power these with life force. You know, life force is like XP, and you get life force from doing good deeds. You're valiant. You're a hero, and you're getting life force because you did something good. So I wanted to give players something like, you're using something good to do something bad, for something that's very evil and bad. And there's a cost for that. I guess you could say that even in real life. So that's really the story with Underworld artifacts. So if you get this stuff, you really have to think. And I'm going to leave it at that, but there's some very detrimental effects. Your hero's killed, for one. There's resurrection in the game, but there's very detrimental effects that can happen in the game from wielding these things. So you really have to make a decision. Yeah, you could kill that guardian, you know, pretty easily with one of these. But is it worth, you know, using something good in something that's really evil? And I'll let you ponder on that. So guys, there you go. You have junk loot and starting gear, and we have common gear and uncommon gear and rare and epic and legendary and fabled gear, and then the Underworld artifacts. I hope you liked our chat together. This went longer than I thought because I love you guys. I love talking about the game. I guess it's kind of obvious. I'm very passionate about this. And I think that all of us together, you know, I've been wanting to say this. Yeah, I'm the creator and I designed it, but you know what? This was Kickstarter. This is the awesome backers who are like extended family to me. People pledging for the game, the artists. It's our game. We did this together. So I'm just kind of the guy under the hood, putting all the parts together. I don't know, the ringleader of the whole thing. But it's a real pleasure and honor to meet all of you. You know, when you send me emails, and this is just awesome we're doing this together. Because I think we're doing something really special here. And it's going to be a ton of fun. Promise. Okay, so here's what we got to do. I got to break all the stuff down. And then get the board out here and set up all the games. So I'm going to try to get the video on here tonight. It might be tomorrow because I have to do some stuff with the game. I got to put the whole game together. Well, not the whole game is together, but you know I have to finish up some content. But I hope you enjoyed this video. So I will be back. Next video you see in the series, we're going to have the whole game set up and we're going to have fun. We're going to do some hero builds, maybe some demos of gameplay, show you some tavern test cards that are totally completed. That's another step towards completion. And then show you the trap cards for the Tomb of Calidar. So a lot of fun stuff in store. Okay, guys, I will be back. So stay tuned for the next video. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.